Hello, good morning, and welcome to the Trade Decorator Festival. I'm really excited to be bringing you our first event. Starting today, the festival's running from the 28th of February right through to the 11th of March. Our first session is a online seminar with Coo Var, and it's on the 7 deadly sins of painting. Now, I'm going to be joined live by Francis McCrill from Coo Var to take your questions following the seminar in our live Q&A session, and I'll be telling you how to join that element of the show a little later. We do have a competition that we're launching in the session as well to give you a chance to win a Coo Var paint hamper worth over £100. Again, I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on. If you are watching us over on Facebook Live in the Trade Decorator Forum, it's not too late to join us over here on Crowdcast. There is a link in the post. If you hit that link, you can join the session and put your questions to Francis in the session. So if you hold on to your questions for the time being, we will take those after the seminar, and I'll tell you how you join us for that element of the show. So sit back. I hope you enjoy the 7 deadly sins of painting. You're going to be learning about common painting problems. Well, I'm sure you know about common painting problems, but what we're going to be learning about is how to overcome them, whether it be condensation or corrosion. Coo Var has top-notch specialist paints to fix all of these problems.
Hello and welcome to Coo Var's presentation on the 7 deadly sins of paint. My name is Francis.
And I'm Jake.
And we're on the technical services team here at Coo Var. So who are Coo Var? So Coo Var are part of Teal & Mackerel Limited. We have over 110 years of experience in manufacturing paint coatings. We're based in Hull, so we're UK based, but we supply globally from everywhere to Hong Kong and Iraq. We have everything based under one roof here in Hull, so that's our technical services team, our lab, warehouse and sales department. We offer flexibility in our supply and service.
So we've broken this presentation down into the 7 deadly sins, the 7 issues decorators come across, and also Coo Var's solutions to these issues. So we've broken it down into moisture, corrosion, time, UV damage, condensation, health and safety, and finally damp.
So let's start with moisture. Moisture in a surface can cause paint to blister, bubble and flake. New concrete screeds are a perfect example of this. So typically you have to wait a month per inch thickness of the screed to dry out before you would be able to paint it. That's often about 3 or 4 months. That's quite a considerable length of time to have to wait before you decorate and protect that surface. So what do we at Coo Var have to solve that solution? Coo Var's Damp Shield Primer is a 2-pack resin-based epoxy primer. It provides a damp-proof membrane on a floor that doesn't have a damp-proof course, and it also allows you to paint a new concrete screed before you typically would.
The next issue that decorators face is time. Clients always need that floor painted yesterday, but still with a high quality finish and of course high quality products. It can be a big source of frustration, the time it takes for floor paints to fully cure, as you cannot put them into full service during this time. Luckily, we at Coo Var have some solutions for this. So first of all, we've got acrylic floor paint. Acrylic floor paint is a water-based product which is touch dry in 1.5 hours and hard dry in 4 hours. This means you can get 2 coats down in 1 day, which is crucial in reducing the time it takes to get that floor back into full service. It's very easy to use, there's no need for a primer, you just thin the first coat with water, and because it's water-based, it's solvent-free and low odour and can be used therefore in enclosed spaces. Unlike solvent-based paints, it can be used on tarmac and asphalt as well, and we do have an anti-slip finish version available, which is a nice, attractive flat matte finish.
So we're now just going to skip to some videos of us painting this product out so you can have a look at the finish and how easy it is to apply this product. Our acrylic floor paint is water-based and will leave you with a satin finish. Start by stirring the product to make sure there is no separation. It can be applied by brush or roller, and there is no need for a primer. Just thin down your first coat by 5% with water. This product has great coverage at 11 square metres per litre. It's fast drying, and with you only needing to apply 2 coats, you can get that floor painted in just one day. Our anti-slip acrylic is a water-based floor paint. Start by stirring the product to make sure there is no separation. It is easy to apply using brush or roller, and there is no need for a primer. Just thin down your first coat by 5% with water. This product has great coverage at 5 to 9 square metres per litre, and it can be applied to most surfaces inside or out. The aggregate in our anti-slip acrylic floor paint is very fine, making it smooth to apply and leaving you with a flat, matte, attractive anti-slip finish.
Another solution that we have to the time it takes to get floors back into service quickly is ProFloor Plus Fast Hardening. This is a fast curing version of our heavy duty ProFloor Plus. So like the ProFloor Plus, it's got great resistance to abrasion and great chemical resistance, but this one can be overcoated in 4 hours, meaning again, crucially, you can get 2 coats in one day. This is ideal when a factory or warehouse needs to minimise the time it's been shut down to save your clients money. We also have anti-slip aggregate available which can be added to this product to give a great anti-slip finish.
So let's move on to health and safety, specifically looking at floors. So how do you prevent accidents? How do you prevent people from falling over, potential lawsuits, downtime and loss of earnings, and provide a duty of care? You want to provide a functional coating that still has an attractive, durable surface. So Coo Var Shore Grip. So Coo Var Shore Grip is a textured coating designed to create a rough, aggregated finish to prevent people from slipping over. It is tested independently to give a PTV score recognised as the industry standard for slip resistance. A PTV score of 36 is classed as a low risk, so that's 1 in 1 million chance that somebody is going to fall over on that surface. Shore Grip has a PTV score of 72 when dry and 61 when wet, so as the 36 gets higher, it's less likely to fall over on that surface. I'm now going to skip to a paint out of the Shore Grip showing you what the finish looks like. Shore Grip is a high quality anti-slip floor paint. The aggregate is already built into the paint, so it's important to not overstir this product or put it on a shaker. Once you have given the product a stir, making sure there is no separation, apply the Shore Grip into the roller tray. It is easy to apply using brush or roller, but make sure to have an even distribution of product before application. SureGrip has great coverage at 6 to 10 square metres per litre, and it can be applied to most surfaces inside or out. It's important not to overwork the product, but make sure to lay it off. This will give you an even, attractive finish.
So, the next issue that we've got here is corrosion. As metal reacts with water and oxygen in the atmosphere, it corrodes or rusts. This not only makes it look unattractive, but it also damages the structural integrity of the metal. Typically, rust will be removed completely by blasting, mechanically blasting or grinding, but this requires a lot of money and heavy equipment. So Coo Var's solution to this is Coo Var Rust Converter. This reacts with rust to stabilise it, meaning that you don't need the heavy equipment. You just need to sand it, and the rust that you can't remove from sanding, the Rust Converter deals with for you. It's water-based and can be used in damp conditions. It also has a visible reaction that you can see, so you can see it change from milky white to a black finish. And then it's primes the surface and can be overcoated with other products to give a nice attractive look and to protect the surface as well, give long-lasting protection. It's suitable for domestic, industrial and the marine environments.
So let's skip to a video now showing the rust converter, how it's applied and what it looks like when it converts that rust into a stable surface. Our rust converter is a quick and easy way to remove rust chemically before the application of a protective coating. Simply shake the bottle and pour the contents into a separate plastic container. Apply the product evenly over the area you wish to treat using a brush or deck scrubber. This encourages penetration of the rusted surfaces. Watch the product work as it changes the colour of the rust to a navy blue. So let's move on to condensation. So condensation is not to be confused with damp. Condensation is water droplets forming on cooler surfaces. It provides a habitat for mould growth and it's quite commonly found in bathrooms, kitchens or on cold walls, so walls without a cavity. So how can we prevent condensation from happening? So Coo Var's anti-condensation paint is designed to insulate that surface, to make it feel warmer, to prevent those water droplets from forming on there, and encouraging them to form on things like tiles or shower screens. Coo Var's anti-condensation paint also contains a film-protected biocide that prevents the formation of mould. It comes in just one finish, which is white, but that doesn't mean you can't overcoat it. So you can overcoat Coo Var's anti-condensation paint with wallpaper if you wish, or sort of decorative bathroom paint as well.
Yellowing and UV damage. External paints experience high levels of UV light throughout the year. This dries out the resins and binders, leading to drying and cracking of the product, but also it causes discoloration, bleaching and yellowing. This not only looks unattractive, but it also hampers the protective nature of the paint. Our solution to this is Coo Var Yacht and Seaplane Varnish. This is a marine paint, so it's designed to experience really harsh environments. It's packed with UV absorbers and stabilizers. This means it can be applied over existing paints to give it an extra gloss and also give extra UV protection, or it can be left as a clear coating as a varnish to protect and decorate wood.
So let's finish with damp. So damp is caused by unwanted moisture in the structure of a building. That might have been from flooding or maybe an external leaking drain pipe that has since been fixed, but there's a lot of moisture still within that wall. Now, it will typically take quite a long amount of time for that to dry out before you would typically be able to paint your room and redecorate after there's been a flood or some external factor causing damp to come through. So damp causes mold and fungi, so it's a hazard to health. It leaves unsightly stains on the surface as well. It prevents paint from being able to stick, it causes it to bubble, blister and flake away. So what do we have at Coo Var to prevent this from happening? So Coo Var's anti-damp paint provides hydrating fillers that react with the moisture, so they slowly release the moisture from the surface at a lot more of a controlled rate. That allows you to overcoat that sooner than you typically would be able to with a decorative coating or a wallpaper. It also has a biocide in it as well, so it also prevents mold from forming. It's low odour and can be used inside and outside. Thank you so much for listening on Coo Var's presentation of the 7 deadly sins of paint. If you have any technical questions on any of the products that we manufacture, please feel free to get in touch with us on 01482 328 053. You can also email us at info@coovar.co.uk, and we also have a chat widget at www.coovar.co.uk. Thanks for listening.
Hello and welcome back. So there were some fantastic products there from Coo Var to arm you with new solutions to your decorating problems. I'm sure that that's given you quite a lot to think about, and you've got questions to put to Francis, who's going to join us now in the session for our live Q&A element of the show. Now, if you are watching over on our Facebook forum, the Trade Decorator Forum, the session will come to an end for you here now, but it doesn't mean you can't get involved in the live session. If you click on the link in the post on the Facebook forum, you can join us for the Q&A session. For the rest of you, there's a button just beneath me on the screen that says Join Q&A. If you hit that button, you may be asked to resubmit your details. It'll only take you a minute or so if you are. Myself and Francis will do a quick mic check, and then we will join you in the live Q&A element. If you have typed in any questions here, if you could type those in again when we join the Q&A, it's just they won't transfer over into that element of the show. I'll see you all in a minute. Thank you. Hello everyone, we're back and we're live on the Trade Decorator Festival, and I'm really thrilled now to be joined by Francis McCrill from Coo Var. Welcome to the show, Francis.
Hi everyone.
There was some great demonstrations there. Some of those products I've not even seen myself. I'm sure that we've got plenty of questions from our audience. I can see them coming in already. If you do want to ask Francis a question and you feel brave and you'd like to come up on the screen and chat to us, if you give us a wave in the comments bar, and I can actually bring you up on the screen to talk to us. If you prefer I ask your question, that's fine. There is an Ask a Questions tab. I can see one of you's found it already. If you hit that, you can get the option to type in your question, and I will put that to Francis for you. If you'd like to comment on anything in the comments bar as we go along, please do. So, Francis, let's take a look. I think we've got a question from Wayne Armstrong. Mm-hmm. He says, morning all, what's the aggregate used in the acrylic floor paint?
The anti-slip acrylic floor paint. So the specific size of the aggregate, I don't have the information for that, but I can get it for you. And if you give me your email address, I'll email it over to you. But it's a really fine aggregate. Actually, doesn't even feel like there's one there when you put the paint down. It actually just gives you a really flat matte finish, but it does still have a really good pendulum test value score on that floor paint, so it's still classed as an anti-slip floor paint in wet and dry conditions. But I can get you the size of that aggregate as well. If you drop your email in there, I'll find out from the lab specifically what size it is and get that over to you.
Okay, he was asking what it is. Do you know what specifically what size it is, but do you know what the aggregate is?
What it is and everything like that. The details I don't know. I'd have to get that information and email it over to you. Yeah,
no problem. We've got a question from Fran McPhillips. She says, hi, thanks for the presentation. Which product would you recommend for external steps into a house? So if we take that bit first.
Yeah, sure. So 2 options. You could use external steps into a house. I'm guessing these are concrete steps. So what you could use is you could either use our Shore Grip. That's got the really sort of rough textured finish. That's more, it depends if you want that look or not. Or if you wanted a more subtle finish, you could use our anti-slip acrylic floor paint if you wanted something that still gave you that anti-slip element to it. But all of our floor paints at Coo Var, they can be used in internal and external conditions. So any of them, if you wanted to, you could use. But I would go for an anti-slip one. So either the matte finish with the anti-slip acrylic or like a rough textured finish with the Shore Grip.
Okay, and the B part of a question is for a driveway which has heavy car use.
Okay, so a driveway. So we do a product which I don't think I'd mentioned in the presentation, and it's called tennis court and driveway paint. That's quite regularly used on driveways. It is a single pack water-based product, but it's still fine to use on a driveway if it's just like a car, if it's just like a house driveway. It's got a flat matte finish. It will give you like a nice subtle look and not have like a glare to it either. And it also has a PTV score, so it's not slippery either.
Fantastic. When Armstrong's asking, are there any restrictions on what paint we can apply the C plain varnish to?
No. Do you mean, so say that question again?
Are there any restrictions on what paint we can apply the C plain varnish to? So if it's painted and you're applying the varnish.
Yeah, so no. So it is an oil-based varnish. It's white spirit thin varnish, but it's really designed to go over oil-based glosses or oil-based paints. But with a test area, you can sometimes get away with that going over water-based paints as well.
Okay, fantastic. I've got a question for you. Can you overcoat a 2-pack epoxy primer with a single pack floor paint?
So if you are using 2-pack products, so 2-pack floor paints, epoxies, you want to stick with the same system. So you don't want to be putting a 2-pack epoxy over a single pack primer or vice versa. And that's the same if you're applying a floor paint to a floor that might have a previous coating on there. So you want to make sure that you stick to the same system. You're not going to improve a floor anymore if it's got a single pack floor paint down there and you put a 2-pack down there. It can potentially actually pull off the single pack, and vice versa, because a 2-pack dries to quite a hard finish. If you then try and apply a single pack on top of that, what you find is it won't stick to it properly. It won't adhere to the surface well. So you want to stick with the same systems, and that's the same with primers and top coats as well.
Okay. And can you use acrylic floor paint for a warehouse floor with a high forklift traffic?
Anywhere where you've got forklifts, heavy sort of machinery, or anywhere that you've got pallet trucks, really, in order to get a floor paint down there that's going to stay and last, you want to be sticking with 2-packs. So I wouldn't be using an acrylic based paint or single pack floor paint in that environment.
That makes sense. And do you need to use a primer with Shore Grip anti-slip floor paints?
So with Shore Grip, which is our sort of highly aggregated one, you want to, if you're applying this to concrete and it's not previously painted concrete, you want to use an oil-based floor paint. you could use Coo Var's standard floor paint, thin it down 10% with white spirit and apply that first, and then put the Sure Grip on top of it. You don't want to ever thin the Sure Grip itself. That's why you'd want to prime it with a thin down normal oil-based floor paint first. If it's going on top of a previous coating, providing that it's sound, you can just abrade, degrease and go on top.
Okay. Now, in the demonstration, you showed us the rust converter product and how that was applied. After we've applied that, would we then need to use a primer?
I would recommend using something with some anti-corrosive properties on top of the rust converter, something like a zinc phosphate or a red oxide, to prevent the rust from reforming over long periods of time.
Okay, and can you apply anti-condensation paint over previously painted walls and ceilings?
Yes, you can, providing obviously the paint is sound. You want to get rid of all of the mold, etc., that's on there first, and then you could put the anti-condensation paint on top.
That makes sense. And with the yacht and seaplane varnish, if that surface has already been varnished, can you then use that varnish on top of it?
Yes, you can, but we do recommend applying it onto sort of bare wood. I mean, you're always better off applying the varnish onto bare wood, and rather than going on top of a previous coating, you're better off sanding it back. If you do a test area, we always say if it's compatible, then go for it. But if we don't know what varnish is underneath there and it's not our varnish, then we will always recommend doing a test area before you actually apply the varnish on top of something that's already there. This varnish is best applied the first coat thinned 50% onto bare wood, the second coat 25%, and then a full thickness coat on top of that. So you build it up in layers to get that really nice finish.
Right, I see. And with the anti-damp paint, can you then wallpaper over the top of that once you've used that product?
Yeah, so the anti-damp paint you can paint on top of and you can wallpaper on top of.
Okay, fantastic. Well, if we have any more questions, if you'd like to type those in the questions, it's been a really informative session and I've certainly learned a lot. Thank you so much, Francis, for joining us. Now, we are going to launch our competition now in the session. You can see the little box beneath us that says Enter Competition. If you hit that tab, it will take you over to our website. You just need to fill in your details so that we're complying with GDPR regulations. And you can enter the competition to win Coo Var's paint hamper that's worth over £100. Now, before I go, I see we've got another question coming for you, Francis. Brian Dennett, who's not letting you get away, says, you say that if a floor is done with 2-pack, it should be done again with 2 or 1 followed with 1. How do you tell what has been used before?
That is a really good question. So if it's in a warehouse and it hasn't actually it's only just sort of slightly worn away, it's not sort of flaking anywhere, it's quite thick, I would tend to believe that that is a 2-pack that's down there. But what we will do at Coo Var is if you give us a call, our technical team, we can help ask you the right questions. We can try and figure out what's down on that floor already. If it's like a big area, we have reps on the road and we'll happily send one out for free to come and have a look at the floor so we can figure out what's down there. So when people are using 2-packs, if it's not like in a sort of a garage or something like that, then it tends to be a case that we would send a rep out to go actually have a look at the floor, and then we would be able to sort of understand what is on that surface. We can sort of tell with flake samples, the micron thickness, epoxy is a lot thicker, stuff like that.
Oh, fantastic. Well, that's good to know that the help is there and it's not a guessing game. If you are unsure, give Coo Var a call and they'll be able to help you and make sure that you're using the right products. So thank you everyone for joining us for our session today. Thank you, Francis, for joining. If you haven't yet registered for any of our other sessions, take a look on our website. All the links are there. There's 2 more sessions today, and there are sessions every day now up until the 11th of March. We finish on the 11th of March, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.